Hi Nana. We are discussing the question bank. Okay, question bank related to water. So we will continue with the next question, 10th question. Okay, so what is 10th question? A small piece of calcium is dropped in a beaker containing cold water. That means there is a beaker. In this beaker, it contains what? It contains cold water. Water which is cold. Okay. Now into this beaker having cold water, a small piece of calcium is dropped. A small piece of calcium is dropped into this. Okay. So along with this, few drops of neutral litmus solution is also added. So what is added into this cold water? Calcium metal piece of calcium metal, and also neutral litmus solution is also added into this one. And after addition of these two, so take a Celsius thermometer. And stir this solution. Stirring. Okay, kalvetro. So the water is gently stirred. Slowly. Gently means slowly it is stirred. 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 Okay, so the water is gently stirred by means of what? By means of Celsius thermometer. I have taken a Celsius thermometer and I have started stirring this one. So once again I am telling you. See, actually I have taken a beaker and cold water into that beaker. I have added a small piece of calcium metal and I have poured a few drops. I have poured a few drops of what? Neutral litmus solution is also added into this one. Now after addition of these two, so I have started stirring this solution gently. Slowly I have started stirring this one. Okay, now the question is, describe at least 5 observations you found. So what are the different observations you find? So just you describe that. So now let us see. Immediately after the addition of calcium metal, so that calcium metal, it won't float on the surface of water. Okay, it will sink. So calcium sinks, sodium, potassium, they float. Okay, they float on water. But calcium will sink. Okay, sink in water. Okay, it will sink into the water. So soon after it is sinked into water, it start reacting with the water. Calcium start reacting with water and forms calcium hydroxide, and hydrogen gas is released. So tiny bubbles of hydrogen gas is released. So it releases tiny bubbles of hydrogen gas, but the reaction is very rapid. That means very fast. Calcium reacts with the water rapidly, fastly, and liberates bubbles of hydrogen gas. Okay, along with the formation of calcium hydroxide. So this substance, calcium hydroxide, it is a sparingly soluble substance. It is a sparingly soluble. That means it does not dissolve. only very little amount of this substance will dissolve in water. Okay, so as a result of this one, what happens? So this one, calcium hydroxide, so the here the amount of calcium decreases because that calcium is used up in the reaction. So this calcium, it is surrounded by this calcium metal, it is surrounded by what? It is surrounded by this one, calcium hydroxide. Hence the area around this calcium metal, so the area around this calcium metal, it is gets somewhat milky. So actually it is milky in color, it is milky white in color. So that is why the calcium, the surroundings of calcium metal, it appears milky. The surroundings of calcium metal, it appears milky because of the formation of sparingly soluble calcium hydroxide. Okay, so like this. So these are all the observations we found. Okay, here I mean we have added a neutral litmus solution also. So this is what the solution. Now the solution formed is calcium hydroxide. Metal hydroxide, calcium hydroxide is a metal hydroxide. Generally metal hydroxides are bases. So what happens? So whenever base is mixed with a neutral litmus solution, that means neutral litmus solution, okay, when it is mixed with base, what happens? This neutral litmus solution will change its color in the presence of base. Okay, so in the presence of base, the neutral litmus solution will turn into blue color. Okay, so these are all the observations we found. So the calcium metal sinks in water, it reacts with water rapidly and liberates hydrogen gas. Okay, and it forms a sparingly soluble calcium hydroxide, and this calcium hydroxide, it surrounds this metal. Okay, and as a result of this one, the surroundings of this metal, it appears milky white, and the neutral litmus solution, it is turned to blue because here this is the base, so in the presence of this base, so before that only water was there, now base is formed due to this reaction, base is formed in the solution. So whenever base is present in the solution, as we have already added a neutral litmus solution, so this neutral litmus solution will turn into blue color in the presence of base. So like this, these are the observations. And here this is an exothermic reaction. So what happens? Some amount of heat is liberated. So when calcium metal reacts with water, what happens? It forms sparingly soluble calcium hydroxide, hydrogen gas, okay, and also heat is liberated. So that means inside the thermometer, this is a Celsius thermometer, so you will find the rise in the temperature of the thermometer. So you can read there is a rise in the temperature in the thermometer, we can easily observe, we can find. Okay, so that observation we can see. So in this way, so these are all the observations which are found in this experiment. Okay, right. So here this is 10th A, and even B is also asked. What is B? Write a chemical equation for calcium and water. So write a chemical equation, write a chemical equation for calcium and water. For calcium and water. Okay, so this is the chemical equation. Okay, written for calcium and water. So if you balance this one, so you will get like this. Right. So this is about the 10th answer. Next we will learn about the 11th question. What is 11th question? Now the 11th question. So according to 11th question, there are 3 sub questions. Sub question A: about 2 centimeter cube of water is boiled in a test tube. How much amount of water? Take 2 centimeter cube of water in a test tube. See, look here. I have taken a test tube. So around 2 centimeter cube of water I have taken into this one. So what is this one? Water. So now this is test tube, and this water, it is heated and it is boiled. So now heat this water and boil this water. So that what happens? Slowly the steams, so water vapor or the steam will come out from the test tube. The steam is liberated in the test tube. So steam is developed. So now what happened? So about 2 centimeter cube of water is boiled in a test tube such that steam comes out freely. So now the steam is coming out freely from the test tube. So this is the steam, it is coming out freely from the test tube. Now a burning magnesium spiral is introduced. So take a magnesium ribbon, magnesium metal. It is in the form of spiral or else in the form of ribbon, and just simply you burn it. Now what? It is burning magnesium. Now it is a burning magnesium spiral. So bring this spiral into this one. If you bring this spiral into this one, so what happens? So this burning magnesium spiral, it will continue to burn. It will continue to burn for a few seconds and then stop burning. After some time, after a few seconds, what happens? So this will stop burning. See, that means what has happened here? Magnesium metal, the burning magnesium metal, that means very hot, in the presence of steam, it reacts with each other, okay, and converts into magnesium oxide. And in this process, what happened? In this process, a hydrogen gas is liberated. So this is ash. Okay, ash, magnesium oxide. It's a white color ash. It's a white powdery residue. So residue means a solid substance which is formed during a chemical reaction. So it's a white powdery residue. White powdery residue, or else simply we may call it as ash. White color ash, a white powdery residue, okay, which crumbles from the spiral. So simply what happens? So all this up to here, suppose up to here it is burnt, let us assume up to here it is burnt, let us think. So up to here, if you simply touch it, what happened? It will break down, it will crumble, it will crumble from the spiral. So this is magnesium spiral. So let us assume till here it is burnt. Now if you touch till here, what happened? It will crumble, it will separate, it will become powder. Okay, that portion will become crumble, or else it will become powder from the spiral. It separates from the spiral, or else it crumbles from the spiral. Okay, see now why it has happened? Because till here it is burnt. So the burnt portion, so here up to here it remained as magnesium, but here this portion it is converted to magnesium oxide, ash. Okay, so that means, so this portion of the magnesium, it is burnt and converted to ash, and this portion it still remained as magnesium. The upper portion still remained as magnesium. Okay, now during this process what happened? Hydrogen gas is evolved. So now from here hydrogen gas is evolved. So this is what hydrogen gas is evolved. So now, so here what is happening? Hydrogen gas is released, H2 gas. So I am taking this portion only. So hydrogen gas is released. Now if you bring a burning splint, if you bring a burning splinter towards this gas, so that burning splint will put off. So this gas will put off the burning splint, okay, by making pop sound. Okay, that means the flame will go off by making tap or pop sound. Tap or pop sound. Okay, so that means this gas will put off the flame. Actually there is a flame. Before that there was a flame. When this burning splinter it is brought near to this hydrogen gas, so what happened? The flame is put off. This gas will put off the flame by making this sound, or else this sound. So the only gas which puts off the flame by making this sound is hydrogen gas. So that means here an invisible gas G, some gas G. So simply here it is not named, the name of that gas is not given, simply it is kept as G. So an invisible gas G is formed in the test tube. So in the test tube, invisible hydrogen gas is not it is a colorless gas, it is invisible. So this hydrogen gas, what happens? So a burning candle is brought near the mouth. Suppose if a candle which is burning, if this candle is brought near the mouth of this test tube, what happens? So the flame of the candle is put off. The flame of the candle is put off by this gas by making tap or pop sound. So the only gas which will put off the flame by making tap or pop sound is hydrogen gas. So from this it is understood that the liberated gas, okay, the liberated gas in this process, okay, that means here when magnesium reacts with steam, so hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay, so this is so what is the gas G? Gas G is nothing but hydrogen gas. And here one more question, one more sub question is there. What is that one? Write a chemical equation for the reaction between steam and magnesium. Write a chemical equation. Write a chemical equation for Okay, for the reaction between for the reaction between what? Between magnesium and steam. Between magnesium and steam. So the reaction between magnesium and steam. So this is the reaction between this is the chemical equation. Okay, this is the chemical equation. Okay, which explains the reaction which has occurred here in this test tube. So like this, we can discuss 11th answer. Okay. Now, already we have discussed the 12th question in our previous video. Now we will directly go to the 13th question. 13th question. What is 13th question? State two differences between melting of solid and dissolving of solid in water. Dissolving of solid in water. So one is melting of solid and dissolving of solid in water. So we have to write at least two differences between melting of solid and dissolving of solid in water. See, first difference is, melting. It requires melting of any substance requires heat. So that means melting requires heat energy. Okay, melting requires what? Heat energy. Absorbs. So when a substance after absorbing large amount of heat energy, okay, then that substance will melt at its melting point. Okay, but dissolution, dissolving of solid in water does not require any heat energy. Dissolution does not require heat energy. Simply a substance, a solid can be dissolved in water without heating, generally in most of the cases. So dissolution does not require heat energy. So this is first difference. Next difference is, melting takes place at a particular temperature, at a fixed temperature. Melting of a substance occurs at a melting point. Of that substance. So melting point of substance, melting points of substance varies from substance to substance. Different substances will have different melting points. So melting point, it is a fixed temperature. It is a constant temperature, or else it's a fixed temperature. At that fixed temperature, what happens? The substance melt. Solid substance will melt into liquid substance. So at a fixed temperature, the process of melting takes place at a fixed temperature. So melting of a substance occur at a melting point, that means at a fixed temperature. But dissolution of solid, okay, in water, dissolution of solid in water, so takes place at any temperature, any temperature. So there is no specific temperature, so we can dissolve any solid in water at any temperature. Okay, so that means dissolution takes place at any temperature, so no need of dissolving a solid in a particular temperature. So even at any other temperatures also that solid can dissolve in water. So like this, because here only two differences are asked, so I mean these two differences are enough. Okay, right. So now we learn the 14th question, answer related to 14th question. So here 14th question says that name suitable solvents for the following solids. So some solids are given and we have to find that solid is dissolved in which solvent. So what are those solids? A is sulfur. Okay, next another one is rubber. Next one is resins. Next one is paints. Next one is iodine. Okay. Next one, wax. Next one is chlorophyll. Okay, and some more are given. What are the other things? Next one is what? Phosphorus. Okay. Next one is sodium. And next one is sugar. So these are all different solids mentioned, and we have to find the suitable solvent for these solids. See, sulfur is soluble in carbon disulfide. It is soluble in carbon disulfide. Okay, carbon disulfide. Formula of carbon disulfide is CS2. So in carbon disulfide it is a liquid. So in this liquid, in the carbon disulfide liquid, sulfur can be soluble. It is dissolved. So this is a solvent, so which can dissolve sulfur. If you take a rubber, so this rubber we can dissolve rubber in benzene. We can dissolve rubber in benzene. What is the formula of benzene? C6H6. Or even alcohol, the rubber can dissolve. So alcohols, there are different types of alcohols. The most important alcohol is ethyl alcohol. Its formula is C2H5OH. So this is the formula of ethyl alcohol. There are so many different alcohols exist. So one of the alcohol is ethyl alcohol. Right. So rubber is soluble in any alcohol and it is soluble in benzene also. If you see resins. Resins are soluble in ethyl alcohol. In ethyl alcohol. What is the formula of ethyl alcohol? Just now we have discussed. C2H5OH is the formula of ethyl alcohol. We can dissolve resins. Resins means a type of polymers. Okay, those polymers, they can dissolve in ethyl alcohol. Resins are soluble in ethyl alcohols. If you take paints are soluble in turpentine oil. Turpentine oil. Okay, it's a mixture of several oils, several substances. So it's a mixture of several substances. So in that turpentine oil, paints can dissolve. So turpentine oil is the solvent used to dissolve paints. If you take iodine is soluble in alcohol. Iodine is soluble in alcohol. Okay, so the mixture of iodine and alcohol is said to be tincture of iodine, which is used as antiseptic. Okay, so mixture of iodine and alcohol, it is called as tincture of iodine. So it can be used as antiseptic liquid. Okay, right. So in alcohol can dissolve iodine, alcohol can dissolve resins, alcohol can dissolve rubber. Okay, so now wax is soluble in petrol. Wax is soluble in petrol. So that means petrol is a solvent to dissolve wax. In the same way, chlorophyll is soluble in alcohol. It is soluble in alcohol and even in carbon disulfide also. So carbon disulfide, the sulfur can dissolve in carbon disulfide. Even chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is nothing but a green colored substance which is present in the leaves. The plant leaves appear green color just due to the presence of a substance known as chlorophyll. Without chlorophyll, that substance, it cannot the plants cannot appear green. Okay, right. Next is phosphorus. See, phosphorus is also soluble in carbon disulfide. Chlorophyll, sulfur and phosphorus, they are soluble in carbon disulfide. If you take sodium metal, it is soluble in mercury. It forms sodium amalgam. Okay, sodium metal is soluble in mercury and forms sodium amalgam. Next, sugar is soluble in water. So what is the solvent for sugar? Water. What is the solvent for sodium? Mercury. What is the solvent for phosphorus? Carbon disulfide. So like this we can discuss the 14th question. Okay na? Right. So we will discuss the 15th questions and some other questions in the next video.